Welcome to Baritone Cult. On tonight's episode, we've got a cool guitar for you. It's going to be in drop B, and we're going to play some clean tones with it, some distortion. And we wanted to do a video on this because, you buy guitars online. I don't know anything about ESP. I know a lot of guys use them, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna take a gamble. I want to try one of those out. So this is ESP Horizon 2 from the Japan Custom Shop. And I know it's got like this pinkish purple silver, this sparkle, but it's cool. I really dig it. When I was looking at them, I'm like, okay, I love this bridge type. When I guitar shop, sometimes I'll grab something and I don't know, there's certain things. I just want to make sure it has good pickups. I want to like the bridge, and weight is a big one also. Took a gamble of not my norm. We've been writing this latest record, which is titled Blind Peaker, and everything's been in drop B. So I'm going to play some distortion with this, and it really sounds cool. I don't know how it's going to come through the YouTube, but I'll try it with a few different pedals. We're running out of an Amplified Nation steel string singer. Absolute killer amp. So the pickups, important. They are Seymour Duncan JB Hybrid Custom Shop. They really, really, really sound good. On the strings, being in drop B, I'm using 11 through 47. So the tension's perfect. The intonation's perfect. I've been using that gauge for all the guitars in this project. The quality on this, you can tell with the switches on these ESPs, with the pots on the volume and the tone. Those are some of the things like I notice. And, it's a neck through or whatever. Super high quality. So it's a winner. Why don't we'll hear what this thing sounds like. So 11 to 47, how does that work? Flat wounds. That's why if you hear the gain structure and you're like, that sounds different, or you can't recognize it, or maybe you don't even know, which is the goal. So flat wounds, man, I wouldn't even mess around with a 25.5 scale guitar if I couldn't tune it down. And I did not want to have fat strings on there. I've been playing with them baritones for years now. with a 70 gauge and all that. So we just tried some experimenting and it worked. And, I got a Fender bass over in the other room. I think the low B is a 118 flat wound. So that's what we're doing. Why I'm thinking of it too. In the next episode after this, we've got a really cool baritone. It's a Grez out of California. I don't know. We must have got a year and a half ago. We had them build it for us. It's a 30 and a quarter scale. And it's a semi-hollow, 5.5 pounds. So, if you like the content, that's going to be the next one. We've got a few more we're going to be showing you, but I don't want to step too far ahead of the game. What I'm going to do is I'm going to change the gain structure on here real quick and do some more farting around on there. So what I did is I just added that God City Instruments Jugendstil. It's one of my favorite pedals. Those things, if you got one of those, man, that is a killer pedal to mix and match with. So that's what I just put on right there. Another thing that I'm thinking of as I'm showing you guys this guitar, I cocked my volume back a little bit. And I was thinking about this earlier. In one of the previous videos, we've got a Frank Brothers guitar. It's a 25 scale or something, tuned down to drop B like this, and it sounds killer. So I always thought, man, I got it used. Why would somebody sell that guitar? I mean, I got a killer deal on it. I was like, man, why would somebody get rid of that? This thing just sounds awesome. When a guitar hits with you, you're just like, man, it sounds awesome. I thought about it and I'm like, whoa, you got the volume rolled back to like 4.5, 5, and you got that tone pot cocked back. I did that because I get more bite, less compression, and a more raw sounding. And then I'll, gain stage it with 3 or 4 pedals or do something like that. And what you're hearing tonight's probably the most gain we would ever use because I want to have that clarity, that bite. Also this tone that's coming through that we're doing now, this is a recording tone. So we have the mid-range in a certain way to go with the bass with the flat wounds and stuff like that. We've been mixing it up. But back to the guitar with messing around with your tone and your volume and stuff like that. I go through that type of stuff to help me decide if I can get the tone I want, and instead of having them both cocked to 10. Hey, if that's what you do and that works for you, that's cool. Sometimes to achieve the tone that I want, I'll mess with those things. It's like Mesa Boogie. Like, let's say you had a Mesa Boogie TC100 or whatever. Your presence knob, you sometimes want to crank those where, my presence knob on this Amplified Nation might be at 4.5 or whatever. So that's another thing that you might not even think of trying. Like, oh man, I should dime that, or like if you're trying to get some heavy tone with a baritone, sometimes you might have that mid too high on your amp. Anyways, why don't I switch this out to some clean tones and you can hear some of the clarity on here because I was really blown away with these pickups. And, I know the Japanese, their craftsmanship is really off the chart. So let me switch that over and we'll get a clean tone. Okay. So I'll play a little bit on the clean tone on this guitar. And Amplified Nation, steel stringer head. That's been my daily for, I don't know, a year and a half or something like that. I use that Fortin Cali for, I don't know, 2.5, 3 years every day. I'll start with a neck pickup. that reverb down just a little. It's way too much. So, that's the ESP Horizon, man. Really happy with it. I think some of the grindy stuff, the distorted stuff, sounds really chewy. The mid range is good. You know, you have to remember that it's set up to be, we're recording with it. So I'm just curious, because I think it sounds killer. But flat ones. It took me a minute to kind of organize that tone, I think, but appreciate you guys tuning in. And the next video, we'll have a Grez 30 and a quarter scale baritone, 5.5 pounds. You want to check that one out. Catch you later.